Namaskar, friends. Today I wanted to talk about exposure and attachment. Exposure to the various situations and surroundings as a witnesser, the Atma sitting inside the body, is uh, an observer or a lot of activities unfolding in Prakriti. These unfolding activities are attributed to the game of the gunas or the influencing associations, of which there are three kinds: sattva of balance, levitation, lightness; rajas of intense activity, anti inertia, to break the status quo; and tamas of extreme inertia, sloth, laziness, indolence, to propagate and aggregate and accentuate the inertia. So, one set of processes is trying to contain the status quo by breaking it, challenging it, which is the rajas, and the other set is trying to propagate and promulgate and establish even to a deeper level the continuing status quo, which is the tamas. Sattva is basically representing the balance between the tendencies to break the status quo or the circuit versus the tendencies trying to continue in the same direction, propagating to the extreme end. So that's why the Dharm Sansthapanarthaya Sambhavani Yuge Yuge happens. The establishment of dharma has to go back in the center whenever it exceeds, whether it be end of Dwapar or throughout Kali Yuga. It will be established back to the center from where it will try to have these forces trying to pull away from the center to their extreme. So, exposure anytime we have is going to increase the status quo. So, you can think about it as aversions or predilections. If you have exposure to an unwanted activity, you will be moving away from that activity as much as possible, thinking of it as a spectrum. You're going to move away from that end more towards the other end. It can be exposure to chilies, sour food, a certain kind of person whose traits you absolutely abhor, and that will push you away, neglect, ignore, move away from that person. So that is itself building a set of behavioral tendencies which will be ingrained over time to become your personality. So you are trying to avoid the exposure. That is the exposure of negation. Whereas there can be an exposure of predilection, where you want to have more and more. This happens more so between lovers, a boyfriend and a girlfriend wanting more and more exposure, especially in the earlier phases. You will see this almost a sense of heightened madness in which there will be a need to be around that individual and care for that individual or make them happy or just spend time with that individual, because all these activities are modeled by rajas. And rajas, we know, yadagre amritopamam antkale vishme. So what tastes as nectar in the beginning and visham or poison in the end, that is rajas. Whereas sattva is yadagre vishme pariname amritopamam. In the beginning it is hard, arduous, but in the end it gives you great fruits of enjoyment, which is amrit or nectar. So we have to be very careful of the exposure, is the first thing we need to know. The second thing we need to know is that these exposures are going to create long-term neuronal circuits in the brain, which will be interpreted as attachment. Now, attachment can be thought of as a habit that has formed over long time to become our second nature, because we misidentify ourselves as being extremely close to that experience or individual, and hence when you take that experience or individual away from us, we are craving, because that's the nature of prakriti. Prakriti, when it comes in contact, guna comes in contact with guneshu, there is this bond, if you will. Just like there's a bond between H and O atoms in water, there is this strong bond. And this bond of cohesiveness is what represents attachment, love, and when it's broken, there is a sense of emptiness, a sense of feeling inadequate, and sadness, because the used to part is not there anymore. So we have to be very careful of the exposures we are taking, because the exposures are going to be tamasic and going to propagate that particular kind of individual in our life. And once that individual moves away from our life, either by death, disease, or tends to migrate away or move on with another individual, we will feel this void inside us. And hence, we have to be very mindful of the exposures that we are undertaking. The second thing, as I said, is the attachment to the exposure. Very little can be done because it's a reflex process. If you have the exposure, you will have an impression. That impression trapped in the neuronal networks of the brain is tagged as attachment. If it is a negative connotation, that attachment is often called addiction. You can have addiction to gaming, gambling, smoking, alcohol. Uh, you can be addicted to having someone around you all the time, and when they go, say a divorce happens, you feel like a portion of your body has been amputated. So the pain and grief is immeasurable when you have the guneshu, or the object of sensual gratification, move away from the indriya, or the sensor of that enjoyment. So we have to be, when I say exposure, I'm referring to the perception of that object. And you can say that this applies not only to objects like food and water and shelter, but also to individuals who are coming in our lives, because these are all exposures. Now, छोत्रम चक्षु स्पर्शनम रसनम घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायम विषयानुपसेवते. What you see, what you hear, what you taste, smell, touch, all of that, the senses are being presided over by the man. Along with the man, they are being enjoyed by the witnesser or the atma. So these things are basically for the enjoyment of the anandamayi sharir, the innermost court of blissfulness, that these exposures are there. So we have to be very careful that they are constructive in nature and not going to cause more devolution and destruction of the soul, in the sense that they are making us more entrapped in the karma bandhanas, so that we have to take life after life to satiate our desires. And the role of Maya is such that the more you get into this dhyasho visyan punsa, the more sangesh teshu upjayate. The more you get into these exposures, the stronger the attachments, hence the stronger the karma bandhan. And that is what is causing a brahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjun maupeti tu kante punarjanna vidyate. Till the brahma lok, all individuals are going to be dying. But once you reach me, you are not going to be born again in this world, because न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित न भूत्वा भविता वा न भूया अजह नित्य शाश्वत अयम पुराण न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. It will neither die nor be born. That is the role of the soul. But the body, if you are taking on a body, that has to be destroyed. The Panch Mahabhut body, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu, Kham Mano Buddhire, Cha Ahankar Ittim Me Bhinna Prakriti Rashtha. So this five metal body, five element body are composed of fire, earth, air, water, ether, along with Mano Buddhire, Ahankar Ittim Me Bhinna. So Man, Buddhi and Ahamkar, they are forming your lower fields, and that is what is composing the prakriti. And since we are part of the prakriti in this body, it is composing our bodies. So, come back to the most favorite shlok that I have. Dhyaito Vishyan Punsa Sangesh Teshu Upjayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kama, Kamat Krodha Vijayate, Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha, Sammohat Smriti Vibhrama, Smriti Bhanshad Buddhi Nasho, Buddhi Nashat Pranashati. So, when we know that this constant contemplation or dhyaito is the reason for Sangeshteshu or attachment. Sangha means union, Sangha means combination. So, the attachment that is created from constant rumination is the problem, because what happened to the Sangat? Sangat Sanjayate Kama. When you told us, Krishna told us, Kamesh, Krodhesh, Rajagun Samudbhava, Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vaidyanami, Varinam. Kam and Krodh. Kam and Krodh, desire and anger, are the biggest enemies. And your biggest enemies that are making you go and commit the crime. Atken prayuktoyam papam charti purusha nichhanyape varshne baladim niyujita. What compels me, hey Krishna, to commit these crimes or these papas, these sins, even when I feel I don't want to commit them? Because you will realize, first time you can call it temptation. First time you can call it there is, you got carried away when you saw that beautiful girl or that beautiful cookie in front of you. But when you are eating that same cookie the third or the fourth time, the same day, after 2 hours, or having prolific sex with the same girl 10th or the 11th time, or a different person on a different day, you kind of know the neuronal networks that are trapping you. So there is not that sense of innocent surrender to that temptation as it had happened the first time. That is why the first time exposures are the ones that create the strongest impressions in the mind, because it is contingent upon these expressions that the subsequent returns will happen for that soul to go and enjoy the same object of sensual gratification. And I use these two as the prime examples because food, whether you include it as water as well, so hunger and thirst, they reside on the Muladhara required for the subsistence of this Panch Mahabhut body. And then there is Swadhisthana above the Muladhara, which is creation and procreation. That is why food and sex are the most primal instincts, the most primitive of the biological urges that make us commit activities that we may not want to commit otherwise. So, knowing that Atken Prayuktoyam Papam Charti Purusha, Kamesh Krodhesh, so Kam, which is desire, and Krodh, which is anger, they are the two most sinful enemies of this soul, because they lead to the devolution of the soul. So, because Sangat Sanjayate Kama, Kamat Krodha Vijayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. This Sangha, attachment, gives rise to the Kama or the desire. And desires, when they are satiated, they turn into lobh or greed. Desires, when they are not satiated, they turn into anger and frustration. So, either ways, the Sangha is going to create negative connotations. It's going to create negative activities or emotions in us that are going to leave us more empty and feeling the need to fill it with outside objects of sensual gratification. So you see how it is going to enhance and amplify the exposures by being in the mode of Sangha. That is why we have been asked to work in the mode of Nishkam Karma, which is do the activity but without having any expectation of rewards in return. Karmanye adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmphal hetu bhurmarte sangostva karmani. You have the right to perform an activity, but you do not have the right to the fruits, because those fruits will automatically happen in this world because of the doctrine of karma. Our expecting the fruits makes us less able to perform our activity. That's why yagyatharth karmano netrlokoyam karman natartham karm kante mukh sang samachar. Yagyatharth, do in the mode of yagna or sacrifice when you are acting and performing these activities. Otherwise, there will be karm bandhan, an expectation of rewards in return, and that will lead to punarjanms, that will lead to desires, hankering. So we don't want to be affected by the objects of sensual gratification and these varied exposures while we are working in the world. When we have done that, we have worked without expectation, attachment, desire, frustration, anger, greed. When we have inhibited these emotions to affect our mind, then we have worked in the mode of Nishkam Karma. And by doing that, we have proven to the Paramatma that the Atma, although the innate nature is Anand or enjoyment, it can continue to have Anand enjoyment in the Karan Sharir or the causal body without needing these objects of sensual gratification in the gross body or the desire in the subtle body. So, as long as we can kill the exposures in the gross body, and as long as we can kill the attachments and the desires from those attachments in the subtle body, we can enjoy the bliss in the Karan Sharir or the causal body. So, this is the way to calm the exposure and the attachment. Now, the way to calm the exposure and attachment is to understand that always in the world we will have exposures, because the one way to cut back, of course, exposure is to go in solitude, and then you are trying to regurgitate the samskaras in your mind when you are in dhyan yoga, and trying to slowly cut off those desires and expectations and wishes that we have in our mind with the Gyan Yoga. Because once you use Gyan, which will automatically come in Dhyan or through Satsang, Sadbhav, Sadachar, through the various yogas, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, then you'll be able to introspect and analyze your own internal personality traits and certain weaknesses that have been keeping us here. The very fact that we are born in this world tells us that we are imperfect and we are working our way towards our spiritual journey. Some people knowingly as religious devout, some people skeptically as agnostics, and some people as reluctantly as atheists. But all of them are moving in a certain trajectory while they are trying to interact, because all of them are Atmans, whether they believe it or not. So try to get the right exposures. The right exposures, as I said, are satsang, sadachar, sadbhav, which means right association or the right kind of environment you are building around you through listening to pravachan, through listening to chanting, participating in chanting. Sadbhav is the way we interact with our other individuals, because you have to have compassion and kindness and think how would you work if you would have been that person. If you are a lawyer, how would you have like to be treated if you are a client? If you are a doctor, how would you have liked to be treated if you are a patient? So whoever you are providing your goods and services to, think yourself as the customer or the recipient and how you would like to be treated, and then dispense your duty accordingly in that mode. That is sadbhav. And Sadachar is your activities, the activities that you undertake even when nobody is looking at you. So they say greatness is not born out of lack of options, because sometimes some people will appear great because they did not have the option to commit the crimes or the temptations that they had. So even if you have the temptations and if you totally ignore and move on, then that is the real greatness, because opportunities and circumstances only reveal us to the inner individual, and that is why they are the strongest the tests of adversity. When we don't have what we want to gain, or when we are exposed to certain things where we can have a temporary fulfillment of our temptations and desires, if you can negate and say no at that time, then the real greatness has been residing inside us. So trying to get the right kind of exposures, the exposures of yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyan yoga, karma yoga. When we do these things, then the enlightenment or the gyan happens, because यथैदांसी समित अग्नि भस्मात कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञान अग्नि सर्व कर्माणि भस्मात कुरुते तथा. Just like the fire burns the wood to ashes, Gyan Agni will burn all our aversions and desires, because this duality of goodness and badness, this is what creates impressions in our mind and creates attachments. And so when you are having no opinions, no attachments, then despite the exposures, you are going to be very slick and not have any idea impregnating your brain to create the load of attachment to be manifesting as desire and aversions. So, my friends, in short, exposures happen through the role of gunas or the material modes of nature coming as sattvic lightness, rajasic activity, or sloth inertia of tamas. We all have all three ingredients in different proportions and at different times depending upon the activities we undertake. But we have to work more in the mode of sattva or the balance and more in the mode of yoga, bhakti, dhyan, and karma yoga to create the right kind of associations cropping from the exposures, because these associations will create sattvic attachments, and these attachments themselves will be very levitas or light, and they won't create a craving, a hankering that is typically seen with the stronger attachments with Vishayas, as in case of smoking, alcohol addiction, gaming, gambling, trading, in which case we are feeling compulsively surrendering to the Guneshu or in the Artheshu or the object of sensual gratification, which is making us a helpless slave to the fulfillment of these joys and wrongly interpreting it as the Anandmay Sharir. Anandmay Sharir has the ability to enjoy perpetual bliss regardless of the Sthul Sharir setup, whether we are having a lot of luxuries, goods, money, whether we are having any desires that need to be fulfilled, because the happiness manifests itself as pleasures in the sthul or the gross sharir by fulfillment of the indriyas. The happiness manifests itself as peace by fulfillment of the desires in the subtle body. So when you don't have the hankering to fulfill your pleasures by removing the objects of sensual gratification, when you don't have the anchoring to fulfill your unfulfilled desires in the subtle body, then you are peaceful. And without peace, there is no happiness. So, by removing the pleasure seeking tendencies and the desire filling tendencies, we are more in the mode of peace. And once peace prevails, long term, we go in the mode of Anandamai Sharir or the bliss, which is our true nature. So always try to be unaffected by these superficial activities that are going around us. Vihai kamane sarvan pumas chirtinis priya nirmam ninahankar sasam dukh shuksami. So you have to apure mada machal pradishtam samudra mapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kam kami. Just like rivers are flowing in an ocean, they create these superficial turbulent waves, but deep inside the ocean is extremely quiet and it is not getting perturbed. Similarly, should be our nature, in which the man should not get perturbed by the sensual gratifications that people are undertaking around us or the gunas that other people are involving and we are being exposed to. So you have to turn a deaf ear. Vihai just like yatha kurmu angani, just like a tortoise retracts its यदा संघर्ते चायम कूर्मा अंगानी सर्षा इंद्रियाणी इंद्रियार्थ्यपस्तस्य pragya pratishtha. Just like a kurma or the tortoise retracts its limbs inside its shell, so we should retract our senses inside the control of the mind, so that we are not getting exposed to this pleasure which are going to take away the mind, and hence the mind can concentrate along with the buddhi in the mode of dhyan yoga to understand its real objectivity of living this life and the purpose of life. Jai Shri Ram.